Hi, it's Vanlife and it's MOT day. The MOT actually ran out in January, the end of January. It's now the end of March, but I let it lapse because my insurance and road tax both start in April, so I wasn't planning to use it in the deeper winter months of January and February or early March, so I decided to put it off the road and leave it so it would coincide with the road tax and insurance. So today's the day. Fingers crossed it's going to pass. I don't know if it will. It's a 19-year-old vehicle. It's a 19-year-old Volkswagen Transporter, which it was an AA van, which if you're not in the UK is a breakdown service, and it's converted AA van. This is my poor cat that's just lost his leg. We think he was run over and he had to have his back leg off, poor fella, but he's okay. Anyway, where you going, boy? He's exploring. Yes, so last year it failed the MOT on a couple of patches. There was a couple of advisories, nothing serious, and it needed a couple of patches welding on, which I did myself actually. It was a bit of a last minute thing because the weather didn't lend itself to welding. It was awful weather. I just had a window of opportunity about the day before the period of grace lapses. They usually give you 2 weeks after it fails to take it back and get it redone. I think I had a couple of hours to get the welding done, and yeah, it passed. So this time I've pre-inspected it. I've been underneath and I found 3 patches that needed welding, which I've done, and hopefully there's no more. I haven't missed any. A couple on the sills, which all seems to go on the sills, and one underneath. And the one underneath actually was where the sliding door roller ends. I was looking up, and I thought, what's that? Is that a wheel? And it was the wheel that was actually sticking through the roller. So that wasn't helping, because I've had problems with the sliding door not shutting properly. So obviously it was just dropping at the end. So anyway, I welded a plate in there, and the door seems to be shutting properly. Yeah, so as I say, I hope they don't find any more little patches that want welding, but a 19-year-old vehicle in North Wales, you know, it's not Arizona or Australia or somewhere with a nice dry climate. It's very wet, and we have a lot of salt laid down on the roads and grit, so it rots cars like buggery. So it's not surprising when a 19-year-old vehicle has a bit of rot. As I say, this is 3 years since I've had this. I bought it as a trade-in. Quite a sort of poncy garage, a garage that deals in really expensive poncy RVs and really expensive camper vans, you know, 30, 40, 50,000. This was a trade-in. I saw it one week when I was passing. It was still there the following week, and the week after that. I thought, I'll make him an offer he can't refuse. They accepted it, and it's been fine. It's been really good. It runs very well. It's bombs up. It's a turbo diesel. It bombs up motorways. It's quite economical. I've had up to 38 to the gallon out of it, which is not bad for a heavy vehicle. Certainly a lot better than the old Type 2s I used to have, the petrol engines, which did about 24 to the gallon. The only thing I have had wrong with it really is when the starting motor went in the Lake District. We got it going. I was able to drive back again, but that was a pain in the backside. But apart from that, touch wood, it's been fairly reliable. It does sound rough. When it ticks over, it sounds like a bloody cement mixer. I don't think the wind chimes. It's a bit breezy today, so the wind chimes are giving it some in the background. I don't know if this mic's picking it up. Yeah, it sounds really lumpy when it's ticking over, really noisy. But it doesn't seem to burn oil, and it's certainly not affecting the running of it, so we'll see how it goes. So anyway, I'm going to Oh yeah, that's it. This car, when I bought this, it was a commercial vehicle, still registered as a commercial vehicle. And in the last few months, I've re-registered it as a motor caravan, which actually makes a difference to the MOT. Apparently, it's slightly different. There's another ginger cat, and he's just got a mangled ear. Country life cats, country cats. Yeah, mangled ear cat. He's a beautiful cat. Now he's got an ear that's all bent. Yeah, so motor caravan. Yeah, it's not simply a question of changing the registration document and sending it to the DVLA and saying it's now a motor caravan. You've got to really jump through hoops. In fact, I might do a video show you what you have to do to turn it into a motor caravan, because it's quite complicated. You have to take photographs. There's a lot of criteria you have to fulfill, and you have to prove it with photographs, which are signed, dated and described. So yeah, I might do a video, and for anybody that's got a day van or a commercial vehicle and wants to re-register it, because it makes a difference in your speed limit as well. A commercial vehicle on a 60 mile an hour speed limit can only do 50. I didn't realise until last year, but you're actually limited if it's a commercial vehicle, whereas a motor caravan has the same speed limit as a car. So there are a couple of aspects which make it worthwhile. But anyway, let's drive off to the nearest town, which is about 11 miles away, and wish me luck and see how we get on. Catch you later. I don't know if you're picking this up. I'm on the cheap GoPro copy with no microphone, but what a pain. I drove on my way to the MOT station, and I drove 2 miles, roadworks, 10-minute delay, convoy suggested that I go back the way I came, so 4 miles wasted. Got 5 minutes to get to the MOT station, which is, well, about less than 5 miles away. But country roads, so it's not the fastest roads, so that hasn't been a very good start. Oh, 5 minutes late, could be worse. A while away, an hour. Moment of truth has arrived. I approach the garage, more in hope and expectation. Yes.
How are we doing?
That's bad. Give me the worst.
Right. Mechanically, it's alright.
Yeah.
Just wants a bit of welding.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh, what'd you find this time?
Right, I'll show you.
Well, it's failed on welding. 4 spots I've got to do. 2 under the step sill. I thought I'd check the sill, and on the back. They're all reasonably easy to get at, and I haven't got a ramp. I haven't got a pit or anything, so it's lying on the deck and welding, which is not that very comfortable, but yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, so if it's going to fail, I'd rather it fail on a bit of welding, because I can do that myself. Oh well. Alright, catch you later. We'll continue this adventure another time. Hi, well, the MOT saga is over. I've got the ticket, or rather I haven't got the ticket yet, but it's passed its MOT. The computer, the internet was down, so they couldn't print out an MOT certificate for me, but it's passed, finally. Yeah, it was a bit of a pain, really, that saga of welding. I thought I'd cracked it when I had a pre-MOT inspection, and I'd noticed 3 places that needed doing. I thought I'd probably seen them all, but I obviously hadn't. I don't have the benefit of having a hydraulic ramp or a pit. I have to sort of crawl underneath, so it's a bit of a disadvantage. But yeah, another 4, so that was 7 welding patches I had to weld, which given the time of the year and the mixed weather we've had, in fact the weather was nice when I was doing the welding, but we've had snow since. Yeah, we've had snow since, and it's been quite cold, so I could have done without it. The plus side is it didn't cost me anything to get it through the MOT, because I can do the welding myself, so it's only the cost of the welding wire. I used to say with old cars, until I had the Yeti, I've always had old bangers, basically. If I could get a car through an MOT for 200 quid, well, that's a result. You know, it's another year's motoring for a relatively small amount. But so this cost me just the cost of the welding wire and my time, which was nothing. So that's the plus. But it was a saga, and when I weld, actually, I have to do it. I haven't got the space, especially when you're working underneath, to do it with a mask. So I have to do it African style, or rather third world style, whereas you hover the welding torch over where you're going to weld, close your eyes and strike. So basically you're welding blind. You just get the tip over where you're going to weld, close your eyes, strike, bzzz, and then pull back, see how you're going on again, and repeat. It's not the best way of welding. I mean, health and safety were to go nuts. I ended up with like a sunburnt face, actually. I did so much welding that I had like a red sunburnt face, and I got a nice hole in my hand where a welding spark went through 2 pairs of gloves. So it's yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's quite satisfying welding when you do the job. It certainly saved me a lot of money. And it's surprising how many garages don't do welding actually nowadays. The garage that I took it in for an MOT don't do welding. So that's satisfying in the way that you can do it yourself and get a result. But it's something I could do without, and I've been thinking actually about possibly selling the camper buzz. I've had it 3 years now. It's 19 years old. It's been a good old bus, but I'm getting a bit fed up with welding old buses. So in the last year I've had a few thoughts. I mean, I almost went in for an old Type 2, which a Type 2 bay window VW, which I've had before, and if you know anything about V-dubs, you know that they cost a fortune. Absolute fortune these days. But this was expensive but affordable, and it looked in very good nick. The plus points of T2 in good condition is that it won't lose money. It'll appreciate in value. And the downside is, as anybody who owns a T2 or has ever owned one will tell you, they're not the most reliable things in the world. If you saw Vanlife, Ben, travelling up through South America, he had his engine out 11 times. So you don't want that. You don't want to be going up to Scotland or somewhere and the engine blowing up or something. So that's the downside. Also heavy, a 1600 petrol engine is heavy on juice. So swings and roundabouts. I've also looked at Docker, T25 Docker van, which is a crew cab with a pickup back. Camper van culture, Jed, he's got a Docker van, or he did do. Done a few trips in that. So But at the moment, what I've come back to is getting a crafter van, or preferably a crew cab or a minibus. Something with windows. I know you can put windows in a van, but it's easier if the windows are already there. Yeah, the advantage of a crafter van is they're higher, so you're not crouching down. This has got a roof that you can put up, not for sleeping, but just for a bit of extra headroom. But extra headroom in a crafter van, plus a fixed bed, which is great. Anybody who's got a van with a rock and roll bed will tell you what a bloody pain it is. You get somewhere late at night, you've got to mess around putting a bed up if the weather's bad. Somebody's at the back trying to put a mattress cover on and putting a duvet on and everything. And it's a pain, but having a bed that you can just roll up somewhere and jump into bed would be great. So yeah, I like this van and I'm reluctant to sell it, but I think given the fact there is an old van and next MOT it's going to need more welding probably, yeah, it made me think that perhaps I should get something about, I don't know, 2012, 13, a newer bus. And I've always had VWs. I know a lot of people swear by Transits, Peugeots, Citroens, Mercedes, but I wouldn't have a Sprinter van. I don't like Sprinter vans. I used to drive a Sprinter van, and it wasn't a horrible van. I really don't like. Apologies to people who got Sprinter vans. They're very popular, but I didn't like mine, the one I had. So it's got to be a Volkswagen, and the Crafter is the one that fits the bill. So you'll have to watch this space regarding the developments on the Vanlife front. Will I stick with Buzz, or will I get a new van? You'll have to watch out. But in the short term, I've been seriously considering getting one of these. The advantage of a roof tent is you just roll up somewhere, pop the four corners, the hydraulic struts lift the roof, put the ladder up and climb into bed. You can travel there with your bed made up, and well, they're expensive, but you know they're pretty good. They're pretty practical, you know, especially for just go for an overnighter somewhere. Disadvantage is you haven't got the chilling out area. You can't come back and start cooking, making a coffee. But so in the short term, I was thinking if I do sell this, getting a roof tent, and then start looking around for a van, a crafter, crew cab or minibus. So yeah, MOT done. Bit of a pain, but we got there eventually. So yeah, watch this space if you're into van life and see where we go. Probably next time you tune in, if I put out next time you tune in to a van episode, I might be driving I don't know, a bloody old split screen or something. Well, I should be so lucky. Yeah, so okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the not too distant future. Okay, see you then.